In this lecture, we'll kick things off with starting a new Unity project and import some game dev TV assets that you can use throughout this project. With our Unity Hub open, let's go ahead and create a brand new project. First and foremost, let's just use this drop-down to select the Unity version that you'd like to use. I'm going to use Unity 6.0.10F1. Any version of Unity 6 will likely do just fine. However, I'd recommend using this exact same version just to make sure that things like buttons moving around are always in the exact same location. Let's select Universal 3D. Just make sure this Universal Render Pipeline URP is being used. You can call your project name whatever you'd like. I'm going to call mine Royal Run. I'll make sure this is saved to my proper location on my hard drive. I'm going to unselect Connect to Unity Cloud, and let's go ahead and create a new project. With this new project open and the default layout being used, let's just quickly organize a few things. I'm going to go ahead and delete this README assets by just clicking this asset here, scrolling down and clicking Remove README Assets. We'll be creating our own action map from scratch, so I'm just going to actually just delete this input actions asset altogether. I tend to like my hierarchy in the bottom left, especially while recording, just to kind of give a little bit more room for both my scene view and my game view at the same time. However, you're welcome to use whatever editor layout that you're most comfortable with. And if you notice my editor layout just kind of looks zoomed in, that's because I'm actually using some different preferences on my UI scaling. However, you're welcome to use whatever UI scaling feels comfortable to you. While we've got our settings open, let's actually also go to Edit, Project Settings, click the Editor tab and scroll down, and just like we've done in other projects, let's head to Enter Play Mode settings and just select Do Not Reload Domain or Scene. That way when we enter Play Mode, we just immediately enter Play Mode and everything gets going right away. In the Resources tab of this specific lecture, you'll find a downloadable .unity package file. You can just drag this .unity package file directly into your Assets folder here inside of Unity. With everything selected, let's go ahead and import everything. Inside of Imported Assets, you have a Game Dev TV Assets folder full of a bunch of different assets that you can use for not only in this project, but if you'd like to use any of these assets for personal projects as well, you're more than welcome to do so. At the moment, I'd like to draw your attention to the Prefabs folder. Inside here, you've got 2 or 3 different dozen assets or so that we'll use throughout this project to help our scene come to life. At the moment, just find this King Prefab in your Prefabs folder, and let's just drag this in to our sample scene. With that in our hierarchy, let's just go ahead and make sure our position is zeroed out at 0, 0, 0. Because I'm recording at such a high resolution, I'm actually going to change this from free aspect to full HD 1920 by 1080. You don't necessarily have to do that, as well as just make sure my scale is not zoomed in, but just set to 1. With that prefab properly put into your hierarchy, you can actually just enter play mode, and you should see our king just immediately enter its running animation. We'll cover both the animator and the animation in a lot more detail throughout this project. For now, just make sure that it's properly working when you enter play mode. If for whatever reason it doesn't work, just make sure that you actually dragged in the king model from the prefabs folder and not the models folder. If you open up our king, you can see that our king model is already rigged up with a skeleton. If you were to expand this a little bit further, you can see that it's already properly rigged up with an animation that we've already built just to get things running properly. Let's go ahead and collapse all that for now and create a new empty game object that we'll just call player. With our player selected, let's just make sure we can zero out our position. So right-click Transform Component and reset to make sure it's set to 0, 0, 0. Inside of our player, I'm going to create one more empty game object that I'll just call model. Make sure that's zeroed out and just drag my king model directly underneath our model for now. That can often be good practice just to make sure we have things properly scaling throughout our project. Let's navigate back to our assets folder, double click into scenes, and I'm just going to rename my sample scene to something like main level. This current project is only going to have one level to it in a sort of endless runner sort of mode. So let's just rename that from sample scene to main level. And with that, I think I'm pretty satisfied to move on. I always like starting with a nice clean slate, and there's something special about opening and starting a new Unity project. When you're ready to move on, I'll see you in the next lecture.